Good morning, everyone. Kevin here from Skywatcher, and welcome to another episode of the What's Up Webcast. We cover everything from what's up in the nighttime sky to equipment to helpful tips and tricks. And of course, at the end of the month, we have a special guest to talk about their specialty in the field of astronomy. Don't mind my voice. I'm just getting over some garbage. So it sounds worse than it actually is, but I will make it through. Today is September 22nd. We're almost through September. It is also officially autumn, at least here in the northern hemisphere. It would be spring in the southern hemisphere, but happy fall. Hopefully the temperatures around you are starting to cool off. Now, we are almost to the holiday season, and I know to some people maybe this episode is a little early, but we've actually found that in the past years when we've done this episode, it almost happens a little too late. So we wanted to do it a little early this year. Also because there's a really good possibility that there will be sales going on. Not saying anything. Read into that in any way that you will. But there's a good chance there'll be a lot of things on sale. A lot of things have kind of returned to normal as far as inventory is going, so things have gotten a lot better. So I'm going to try to give you some gift ideas, and now you have a couple months to either track down something or order something or obtain it or just at least get some ideas well before the craziness actually ensues. But before we get started here, just a couple little announcements. If you need something cool, maybe for a holiday gift or just in general, you can head over to the skywatcher.threadless.com store. We've got all kinds of cool stuff there. We've got shirts, skateboard stuff, phone cases, bedspreads, there's shoes, there's leggings, all kinds of stuff. And all this actually goes to supporting the What's Up Webcast and our channel. Lets us know we're doing a good job. So we definitely appreciate you going on over there and purchasing stuff. Also, we are just weeks away from the annular or partial solar eclipse. If you do not have any plans and you are in Phoenix or you just want to come on out, you can come on out to Seoul. We are hosting Seoul again this year. It's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that is in northern Phoenix at the Earth and Space Expedition Center. We won't have any vendors there this year. We will have a fair amount of Skywatcher stuff. We'll have one of the new Stellar View 180 triplets there. A bunch of Lunt, some Coronado, maybe some Daystar equipment. But we'll have a wide variety of equipment out there for you to not only enjoy the eclipse safely, but also if you want to get an idea of some solar equipment, especially before the April total solar eclipse. This will be a good event to come on out to. And all the funds go to the center. Once you buy a ticket, you can cruise the whole museum, or you can come out to the Solar Star Party. We're thinking about making this an annual event as well in October. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, if you have no eclipse plans for October 14th and you want to come to Phoenix, coming out to this. If you want to volunteer, just let us know. You can go over to focusastro.org/soul and check that all out. So that should be cool as well. Really quick, I meant to open this up as well. There we go. We do have some sales going on right now. Again, this is recorded on September 22nd. We've got the Star Adventure family is on sale. I believe we still have our Jumbo Shrimp sale. So if you want to get a Star Adventure Mini or an Evo Lux 62 or 82, those are on sale while supplies last. But there's all kinds of cool stuff going on there. And if you want to stay up with what's going on the webcast or sales or anything Skywatch, you can go over to skywatchusa.com, hit subscribe and save, and you can sign up by just putting your email address in there as well. We do have some contests coming up as well. We're just ironing out some of the details about that. But if you want to stay up to date with even that, you can either watch here on the webcast, Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel because that's where we make announcements. But you can also go over to our email list, subscribe, and that'll let you know about these upcoming contests where you can win some cool Skywatcher gear. And we're getting some ideas together for that. Now, if you like what you see here at the What's Up Webcast, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you have an idea, particularly for some episodes, because we're looking for some episodes ideas for 2024, you can email us at info@skywatchusa.com and title it What's Up. So there you go. Now, we are getting very close to the holiday season. The holidays are just over 3 months from now, and that is going to fly. I know the minute that Halloween gets here, it just seems like the rest of the year just fast forwards immensely. But it's never too early to get your gift ideas, particularly because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on sale, I have to imagine, from multiple companies. But you don't want to wait till the last minute to get stuff. Some of the stuff you need to order and wait a little bit. So it would be ideal for you to start getting some early ideas. Hopefully this episode will help. And then from there, you can head on over and find what you're looking for. There is one other thing I want to bring up here for a little bit later. I will bring this up so I've got it ready to go. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. There we go. Okay, cool. Boom. I'm having these ideas pop up that I want to talk about, and I need to pop some windows up. All right, gift ideas. So probably one of the best ideas you can get somebody, and one of the best accessories, is books. Books are highly overlooked nowadays. I mean, I do understand that there's so much to learn on YouTube, and apps, and there's stuff online, but a book is a nice thing to have that you can reference at any hour of the day, at any time. And probably one of the best ones for a beginner or just any level is Night Watch. This is a great book for understanding the sky. It goes into some basic detail about telescopes and optics, and it's just a good all-around book to have in a astronomer's library. We have a copy of it through Skywatcher. It's in our library at the main office. But Night Watch is a great book to have. I think they have a new one out as well. I should have double checked. But it's a good one to have. And I honestly recommend this for any astronomer. If you're getting someone their first telescope, this is a great book to have to go with it. Everyone asks, like, what's the best accessory to go with a new telescope? Probably Night Watch. And if Night Watch isn't available, or you want something that goes even more in depth, you can pick up the brand new version of the Backyard Astronomer's Guide. This is the 4th edition. I don't have this one. I have the 3rd edition, which is excellent, but the 4th one is just updated with all the modern stuff. This is really the end-all, be-all book, in my opinion, for any astronomer. The 4th edition really, especially for the modern-day imager and equipment, this is really the must-have book. We do have a copy of this at Skywatcher. I also have a copy myself, again, of the 3rd edition, which is not bad at all, but I should get the 4th edition at some point. This literally covers everything. Equipment, telescope basics, the type of telescopes out there. If you're even in the market or know somebody who's just getting into astronomy and you really just want a clear-cut guide on all things telescopes in the night sky and getting acquainted with the constellations and binoculars, this book is really it. And it's a book that you could read cover to cover, and it's a book that you could open up and reference. It's just a must-have. I know I use mine a lot for this webcast. I do bring it out from time to time, and it's a good refresher. Covers equipment, visual, nightscape photography, modern imaging, understanding the sky. It's literally everything in one book, and the nice thing about it is there's no 47 opinions, unlike some websites where you go on and you ask a question, there's 80 different answers. This comes from Terrence Dickinson, who's unfortunately passed away, and Alan Dyer, two very well-known astronomers, and it is written for the astronomer. So it's a must-have book, and as good as Night Watch is, the Backyard Astronomer's Guide is the next level. It's a lot more dense and packed full of information. So either of those are excellent, but the Backyard Astronomer's Guide is going to be a little bit more expensive, but I would honestly recommend having both in a good library for astronomers. And there's a bunch of other books out there that you can get. It really just depends on what you're looking for. Another couple that I like, particularly if you want to do like cultural stuff. Now, this particular one is more for the Southwest, but Star Trails is a really good one to have as well. This is a little book, but it covers Navajo astronomy and tells you the stories of the Navajo folklore of the constellations and their stories. But it's a really cool like archaeoastronomy kind of book, where you can look up different cultures. This one obviously is just covering the Navajo stories, which is obviously big here in Arizona. But there's a lot of other Native American books if you want to learn that, or just other folklore of the nighttime sky, which is really good, especially if you're doing outreach, because you can not only represent what we know in the modern day, which is like the Greek and Roman, but it's kind of cool, particularly to learn about the Native American tribes and their stories of the nighttime sky in your region, because it brings in the culture of your region more as well. So that's kind of a cool thing to do. But there are tons of books. If you just want like regular stories, you can pick up Carl Sagan's Contact, or any of his books. Books are not a bad way to go about as a gift. So that's always a good thing to have at any time. Now, the next section is something I don't know why I haven't added in the past couple of years. It's obviously something that I am quite fond of, but it's a fun one, and that is meteorites. Meteorites are a fantastic gift because they're quite unique. It's really a cool thing to have. It's not really telescope related, but it really gives you a piece of the universe to either bring to an outreach event or just to have on your desk or as a conversation piece at home, or just start a new hobby by collecting meteorites, which is a dangerous one, I might add. But it's a great thing to add. And there's so many different ones out there. I'm going to give you a list of probably the better ones if you're new to meteorites. The piece that you actually see right here, this is a larger, kind of palm-sized Campo del Cielo iron meteorite. This is actually available from my friends at Four Peaks Mining Co. here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And they do have a website. I have to look it up, but just look for Four Peaks Mining Co. And you can call them. And they have several pieces of Campo in stock, including a big one. But this one I've actually seen. It's very well preserved. There's no rust on it. It's come from an old collection, and it's a decent sized piece. I think they still have it, but they do have some other pieces there on display. But that's just one that I know for a fact is a good quality piece, and that you could actually obtain. I've seen it. But you're basically having a piece of the universe, and it's a really cool just thing to have for any astronomy enthusiast or space enthusiast. I think anybody should have a meteorite. Doesn't need to be big, but just cool to have a fragment. But some of the best pieces that you want to take a look at are the following. You have Campo del Cielo, which is an iron. Munulusta, which is an iron. Simchin, which is technically an iron, but also a palisite, so a stony iron where it has the gemstones in it. It depends on what piece you get. You can get pieces that have the iron in it. You can have pieces that have the crystals, which would be the palisite. You can get it in both versions. Sakota Lin, very dynamic, very popular iron meteorite. Chelyabinsk, that is the one that hit Russia 10 years ago at this point. It's a stone meteorite. And Saracho, which is another palisite, a more modern find. But that one's a more affordable palisite. Palisites or stony irons are quite expensive. But all these are fairly stable, which means they're not going to rust out on you and fall apart for the most part. So that's why I recommend some of these. Saracho, I don't know a lot about. I haven't really had a lot of experience with those pieces. I've heard they're pretty good. But all the other ones, they are very stable. They're not going to rust or fall apart on you. A slice of meteorite, as RJ in the chat has mentioned as well. You don't need full pieces. Now, I like buying meteorites, Aerolite Meteorites. They're friends of mine. I know Jeff Notkin down there have bought several pieces from them. They're a great source to get a good piece from, to know you're getting something legitimate. The nice thing about their website is they also have meteorites for under 200, and they have all kinds of stuff there if you want to get some meteorites for under $200 and get something fun there. And they do a very nice job at really getting some good samples there. Some other ones, it's been a while. Another one that have worked with quite a bit for my displays is KD Meteorites. They're a husband-wife team up in Colorado, Kansas is where they're at. And they have some really nice stuff. It's always changing, but they're a reliable source as well. It's important that you get your meteorites from somewhere that's reliable and it's a good source. You don't want to get something fake or get ripped off. So Aerolite Meteorites is really good. KD Meteorites is good. There's a lot of other ones as well, but those are two that are excellent. And then, of course, you have my friends at Four Peaks Mining Co. They've got the piece that you see here if you want like a whole fragment. But good stocking stuffers or a small gift idea for the space enthusiast in your life. Meteorites are very cool to have. And as a collector myself, I highly recommend them. Accessories. What would we do without accessories? We're always looking for something fun. If you have an astrophotographer, the Antlia dual band 5 nanometer filters for those one-shot color imagers, these are probably one of the best multi-band filters available on the market right now. It does H-alpha and O3, and it's a narrow 5 nanometer bandpass. So it works really good for light polluted skies. Excellent for one-shot color imaging, especially in light polluted locations. They have a standard and high-speed version available out there. So it's something that if you're using basic stuff like F3 or slower, you can get the dual band standard. Or if you're using like a Hyperstar or a Rasa or something really quick, probably around F3, you could get the high-speed version. Both work very well at giving you nice tight stars, and it really does well at controlled star images. You're not getting crazy halos out there. They're very good, high-quality filters, so I highly recommend picking up one of those. That's a good stocking stuffer. They're a couple $100. But I know that would go to being very appreciative of the imager out there. If you're looking for something cool that isn't too big, you could either hide under the tree or put in a stocking, or just a small little gift in a bag. The Antlia filters, or any filter for that matter. It doesn't just have to be imaging. If you have someone who's new to astronomy, the best gifts that you can go with a new telescope would be something like a 2-inch polarizing filter, or doesn't need to be 2-inch, as like a polarizing filter for the moon and the planets. It's a great addition. They're not too spendy. An O3, O3 or UHC filters, ultra high contrast. Maybe you have someone, this is their first year, maybe they got a telescope last year for the holidays or this year, and they've really gotten into it and they want to start adding some equipment. Look at a UHC filter or an O3 filter. There's a lot of nebulas that are coming up this time of year, especially around the holiday season. We have like M42 and other bright nebulas. Those O3 and UHC filters can be a very nice addition to the accessory case if you have someone who's just getting started and they're looking to expand their capabilities for observing, or for, in this particular one, imaging for the Antlia filters. If you're looking for visual filters like O3, UHC, polarizers, light pollution, astronomic filters are my absolute favorite. They're very good quality filters. Botter makes a great collection of filters. And of course, Optolong, I have a set of their visual filters now. They're, for the budget, they really do quite well. And I have a hard time discerning the Optolong visual filters from, say, something a little bit higher end like Astronomics. But I've had Astronomics in the past and was very happy with them. I would consider them probably the highest grade visual filter available. Botter is right in there. And then you have Optolong on the more budget side, but they're all very good. But for the visual person, a polarizing filter, O3, UHCs, or a standard light pollution filter like a CLS filter or whatever the variation of that brand light pollution filter is. For imaging, you have Antlia, Botter, Optolong, Chroma. There's a lot of them out there. It just depends on what you need. So, but if you are a one-shot color imager, which a lot of people are, the Antlia dual band is a good one to have. Cameras. Obviously, cameras are always expanding and getting better. And there's some new players on the market too. Actually, that reminds me to roll over here and grab mine. Just want to do one real quick thing. One of the new players to the camera world in the past couple of years has been PlayerOne. PlayerOne makes some outstanding cameras. And this year they provided their new cooled cameras, which are very high quality cameras. And if you are looking to upgrade to something, definitely check out the PlayerOne cameras. They're very well built cameras. They've got some really cool features that some of the new ones haven't flooded in yet with. But if you're looking for a camera for somebody and they're a deep sky imager, you want something that's going to either have a 533, a 571, which is basically a crop sensor, or if you've got the money, the 455 full frame cameras are available from multiple manufacturers. But PlayerOne is one that I would highly consider taking a look at if you're looking for a very high quality camera that's got some nice features like USB-C and stuff like that on it. They're very high resolution, and they both come in monochrome and color. There's no amp glow, and they're very low noise. If you are looking for something for planetary or solar, their Apollo M Max camera, which is a 1-inch sensor with big 9-micron pixels. These are fantastic, and they shoot fast. Our friend Simon, who will be on next month for solar imaging, is using the Apollo M Max. Honestly, this is the camera to have, especially if you're using like a Daystar Cork or any of the long focal length solar stuff. The Apollo M Max is the camera to have. And they just came out with a cooled version, which is the PlayerOne. I don't know which generation they call it or the series name, but they just came out with a cooled version of this one, which is the 432. That's the name of the sensor. 1-inch, 9 micron sensor. And 9 micron pixels are very good for those longer focal lengths. Like if you have like a Edge HD that's reduced, or maybe you're using one of these cheaper RC telescopes, those 9 micron pixels are going to give you a really high resolution image. And now you can get that sensor in a cooled body, which is fantastic because there's not a lot of large pixel cameras out there anymore. Everything is like the 533 or the 571 or the 455, which are like 3.8 pixels. Those are really tiny for those long focal length stuff. So this new 432 cooled camera that PlayerOne has is excellent. Of course, there are other camera companies out there, but I have a lot of people who are ditching other brands to go to PlayerOne because the build quality is quite exceptional. And they do a very nice job at maintaining their quality. And my understanding is they also use higher quality chips. So something to consider if you're looking for something that's different is the PlayerOne cameras. Obviously, there's plenty of other camera companies out there as well, and you can pick from a wide variety of what you're looking for. But try to promote what I see a lot of people who are interested in now, and the PlayerOne cameras are definitely making an impact. Now, eyepieces. For the visual person in your life, eyepieces are always a great gift. And what you normally see, particularly, is if you just got your first telescope in the last year, you've probably had the telescope out. You kind of know what focal lengths of eyepieces that you're starting to use. And now you want to upgrade to your lifetime eyepieces. And the nice thing about investing in good eyepieces is they're going to stick with you for years. Telescopes are going to come and go, but eyepieces are really at the root of what you're going to use daily or whenever you're going out. So having those good quality eyepieces is an awesome thing to have. And it's something that you can build over time. It's taken me a long time to build my set, which is what you see here. Particularly because a year ago they all got stolen. So now I've replenished them. But good quality eyepieces, I understand they are expensive. And a good set like this takes years. My first good quality one was a Teleview 35 Panoptic. And over the years, it was slowly adding one here and adding one there and maybe upgrading another to like a Nagler or whatever from Teleview. I like Televiews. They're my favorite eyepieces. If you wear eyeglasses or the person you're shopping for wears eyeglasses, I would recommend either the Delos or the Delights because they have those longer focal length or they have longer eye relief to make it more comfortable if you're wearing glasses. If you're using a fast Daub, the Ethos is the way to go. And then, of course, if you just want a general all-around set, the Panoptics or the Naglers or just a mix and match of their sets are great. If you're new to astronomy and you want something to complement your new telescope, and you don't know anything about eyepieces, what I like to recommend to people is getting a eyepiece kit. So the Celestron eyepiece kit, the 1.25" eyepiece kit, is my favorite to recommend. It's $230. I don't know if they're going to do a sale for the holidays or not, but it's $230. You get 5 eyepieces, some filters, and a Barlow, which is really going to give you all the stuff you're going to need, especially when you're new, to experiment with all different kinds of focal lengths and understand what a Barlow does and what color filters do. And it's really, and it all comes in a nice convenient case. So if you have someone who just got their first telescope, or maybe they're getting their first telescope for the holidays, an eyepiece kit like the Celestron one is excellent. It's a nice little kit. It complements the telescopes, and then it allows you to play with different eyepieces. And the advantage of that is 6 months from now, or maybe if you got telescopes a year ago for the holidays last year, is you'll start seeing what focal lengths that you really like to use. Now, I find personally that I like something in the 30s, then something in the lower 20, the mid 20s, and then something in the mid teens, and then maybe a high power eyepiece. A lot of times you're only using 3 or 4 focal lengths. And that's the advantage of buying one of those eyepiece kits, is for $200, you can get an eyepiece kit and play around with different focal lengths, figure out which focal lengths you like the most, and then from there you're going to upgrade the 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever you use focal lengths that you really like. So that's where, great, I like a 30, I like a 20 millimeter, and then maybe like a 13. Those are the focal lengths I'm going to focus on and getting my lifetime collection of eyepieces together. Or you can gift a really nice high quality lens to somebody that's just getting interested and really into it. And there's a lot of really good ones out there. Teleview is excellent. Pentax is fantastic. The Pentax XWs are a beautiful set. They also have their new 85 degree. I think it's a 23 and a 16 and a half. I had the chance to use both of them at Texas Star Party this year. Very nice eyepieces. Of course, you have Explore Scientific. Explore Scientific is great for those who are a little bit more budget minded, but still want nice quality. And Explore Scientific has a wide collection of lenses out there. Celestron's got some good stuff too. I particularly like their XL LX line because they're very budget friendly. I think they're less than $100 now, and they come from 25 to 2.3 millimeter. I've had the whole set. They're a great set for beginners, or if you're just looking for high quality eyepieces on a little bit tighter budget. I understand Teleview and Pentax and even some of Explore Scientific's lenses are going to get expensive. Botter also has theirs, like the Morpheus eyepieces are really good, as well as the Hyperions. The Hyperion eyepieces are really good till about f5 on a telescope. They're better for longer focal length stuff like f7. So that's something that you want to keep an eye out for. The Hyperions. They're not as well corrected for, I'd say, f7 and faster, because they're just going to have distortions. But if you have like a Schmidt-Cassegrain or something like that, the Hyperions are really good. Question: if you all have an 80 millimeter f6 refractor and the Star Venture GTI, what is the ideal combo of eyepiece and Barlow for visual? Oh, for planetary. For planetary, you want at least about 100 power. So 80. So that's 480 millimeters for that scope. Let me see. 480. Wait, is that right? Hold on just a sec. I'm doing some math. Yep. 480. Whoops. You're going to need something high. So probably the minimum for planetary, again, is 100 power. So probably about a 5 millimeter or higher is what I would recommend. For me, on my refractors, which you actually see here in the case, for like my Esprit 100 or my Grab and Go telescope, which is a Stellarvue SVX 90, those two, I have my Delos 3.5 and 4.5 millimeter. I honestly wouldn't mind tracking down something even higher. Let's see, Teleview, I think they still make it, has a really interesting eyepiece. It's a 2 to 4 millimeter zoom, which is quite good for something like that. I'm not a big fan of Barlow lenses. I think they distort a lot. I understand that they add a little bit to the budget, but I'm not a fan of them. I'd rather just have the eyepiece that does it. So 100 power minimum for planetary, if not higher. So you're probably looking at 5 millimeter for an 80 f6, is 96 power. So like a Delos 4.5 or a Deloitte, Delos 4.5 or the Delos 3.5 from Teleview. I think something in there would be good. Even the Celestron XL LX, those are $80. They have a 2.3 and a 5 millimeter. And then Explore Scientific has a bunch. Highest power, can find Barlow optional. Yeah, for a short refractor, that's why these really short focal length eyepieces exist. They're really to get high power on smaller telescopes. But yeah, probably something in the 3 to 5 millimeter for a short focal length refractor is what I would recommend. So my personal choice, because I like longer eye relief and I do like a wider apparent field of view personally, I would go with either the Delights from Teleview or the Delos. Delights are like 62 degrees apparent field and the Delos are 72. Somewhere in there is what I would recommend. If you're on a budget, look at Explore Scientific. And then, of course, there's also Nikon. Nikon has exceptional eyepieces as well. They're a little harder to find. You have to go to a Gina Astro to get Nikons here in the United States. But they have they have 2 sets that they sell, and they're very nice. Telescopes and mounts. These are obviously the biggest things out there. For our lineup for the holidays, for Skywatcher, the Virtuoso GTI is excellent. You're getting a go-to telescope and a 5 or 6 inch aperture. It's a real telescope. It's got Wi-Fi built in. These are becoming more readily available now. They do have a 3/8 mounting bolt on the bottom, so you can put it on a tripod, like the Star Adventure tripod will hold them. They're collapsible for travel and storage, and they're perfect for beginners. And you can use them with Sky Safari as well if you want to do app control. If you just want something basic, our Heritage telescopes, which are the Virtuoso GTI tubes on a manual mount, excellent as well. They're real telescopes, and they're available for like $500 or less. So $500 is probably your minimum for a go-to telescope with a decent aperture. So that's something to think about there as well. But for the Skywatcher lineup, the Virtuoso GTIs, if you're looking for something that's go-to on a budget, that's a real telescope, it's not a toy, the Virtuoso GTIs are great. Now, Star Adventures are also very good. Star Adventures are going to be a critical piece of equipment for the eclipses that are coming up. We do have them in stock that you can get them right now if you need a travel mount for next month's solar eclipse. But especially if you're going to be going for the April total solar eclipse, a Star Adventure is a fantastic little mount that's lightweight and modular to handle small telescopes, probably up to 70 or 80 millimeter refractors, or tiny little matte Cassegrains, or just telephoto lenses up to like 400 millimeter. For the total eclipse, you're shooting really quick, so you could get away with a 600 on there. Or if you have a photographer who's just getting into astronomy, the Star Adventure 2i Pro Packs are excellent, and they are well in stock right now as well. Again, you're around that $500 budget. You just need your own tripod and batteries and maybe your favorite ball head for that. Now you can get the Venture GTIs as well. These are coming into stock. Now there's not going to be a lot of weight on them now, but they're go-to. They're going to be a little bit more expensive in that $700-800 ballpark if you get the full kit. These are great for travel, great for getting started in astronomy if you have a small telescope, especially for the eclipse next year. These are awesome little mounts, and they hold any small telescope really well, especially the telephoto lenses. And they're going to be half the price of some of these harmonic mounts that are out there. The harmonic mounts are excellent. They're great for travel purposes, and of course they hold more payload, but you're paying a lot of money for them. So if you need something that's more budget friendly, these Venture GTI is becoming more available now. We're getting more inventory finally. So that's going to be a great mount to have for the holidays, as well as someone who's just getting started in astrophotography. And it works with a lot of the popular little computer controllers that are on the market. If you want to get something that's a little bit more turnkey for astrophotography, the Quattro 150s, these are an excellent little telescope. And I'm not just saying that for Skywatcher's support, but it's everything that you're going to need to get started in astrophotography. And it's all for under $700, I think. You're getting a 6-inch f4 Newtonian. We're giving you the eyepiece on it is actually really nice. I have a few of them. They're a really nice 22 millimeter, 70-degree eyepiece. They're very comfortable. I wish we would sell them separately or have a series of them because they're very nice. So it comes with a nice eyepiece, and you get the coma corrector and the reducer at f3.4. That means all you have to do is slap your favorite camera on it, like a 533. You pop one of these on it, you're cooking with gas. And you don't need a big mount. This works really good on like an EQM35. It works on the AM5 mounts. I've tested it on that. AVX from Celestron. A small mount will work with this, and you're shooting at f3.4. That's going to be way faster than any of these affordable little flat field quad refractors that are on the market that you're going to be paying twice the amount of money for. And I will let you know that I've tested some of these newer quads, these flat field telescopes, and the fit and finish is very nice. They're great little telescopes. They're not as flat and well corrected as you think. And I'm just saying that from my own personal experience, that especially as we get to these larger format cameras, they're not as well corrected as you would think, and you'll start finding those idiosyncrasies as you go on. And you're still shooting at f5 or f7. This little guy right here is f3.4. f3.4 out of the box corrected is pretty good. And again, it works on the harmonic mounts. It works on the affordable equatorials. It's not too heavy, and it's fast, which is really good. Now, one of my favorite telescopes on the market that's not Skywatcher that I think is fantastic for the beginner is the Starsense Explorer series from Celestron. Particularly this 130 is very nice. It's a 130 millimeter aperture. It's a real parabolic mirror, so it's a real Newtonian. But the Starsense Explorer lets you use your phone to plate solve and find your way around the sky. This is excellent for the beginner who knows nothing about the nighttime sky. So that is something that you need. It's a fantastic telescope for the budget. They do make some larger aperture ones. The prices are starting to get a little higher, where you can start adding go-to or purchasing something that has go-to instead. So that's something to think about as you get to the larger aperture versions of Starsense Explorer. They're all great telescopes, but that Starsense Explorer, particularly like the 130, that's something that you can get at like Best Buy. if you need something quick. And it's a decent sized box. So if someone comes down and sees that box and it's all wrapped up, holy crap, it's going to be an awesome day. Great telescope to get started with. And the Starsense Explorer technology is fantastic for any beginners. There's some questions here. Can the GTI handle the Quattro 150? No, it's just a little bit too heavy there. So you're going to need like an EQM35 or an AVX. Or if you've got the money and you want to throw at it, you could go get one of these harmonic mounts, which are quite nice, but you're spending probably $2,000 plus for just that mount. Binoculars. A good pair of binoculars. Everyone should have a good pair of binoculars, in my opinion. There's so many good ones out there now. Celestron makes a wide range of them. Of course, the best ones in the world are going to be Zeiss and Swarovski, or the Canon image stabilized binoculars are fantastic. But just a decent little pair of binoculars is a great way to get started in astronomy. And it's also fantastic to watch the eclipses with the appropriate solar filters. But for something that's easy to handhold, 40 to 50 millimeter is probably what you're going to be looking for. If you want something that's got real clean, nice, sharp optics, you want something that's got ED glass in there, that does add to the cost. But for like $300, you can get a really nice collection of binoculars. There are larger ones out there, like 50 plus 70s. Celestron has their new Skymaster Pro ED versions. They're so nice. The 70 millimeters are really impressive and they're really well corrected. Let's see. Can you stack case ND3, 6, and 10 ND filters for solar astrophotography? If you are stacking ND filters, I don't even know how many stops the 3, the 6, and the 10 combined are going to be. Honestly, if you're a photographer, just go get one of these. This is the NISI 100,000 ND. This is the filter I would recommend. The color is really good with these. They come in all different sizes and they're right around $100. They come in a variety of sizes and there's no guessing with this. This is photographically safe for your camera. If you start stacking filters, you're going to get all kinds of weird aberrations. So go get yourself the NISI 100,000 ND and call it a day and don't worry about it. You don't want to damage your stuff for these eclipses. And these are really well built. They've got really nice machining. They're knurled on the rings here, so they're easy to remove, and they're just built. So you're at, that's what? So 10, 19 stops with 3 filters. The ND 100,000 is a 16.6 stop filter. Yeah, technically you're probably more than enough. I wouldn't trust it. And the more glass that you put into play, it's going to start degrading the image of what you're going to get. I wouldn't be stacking a bunch of filters because, yeah, would it probably work? Maybe. I don't really know how good the image quality is going to be when you're running that much filtration with 3 pieces of glass. One filter that does it all for like $100 is more than enough. So I recommend the NISI ND 100,000, and you can get them for like $100 and they're really good quality. They come in a really nice case and you're good to go. You can also get these really cheap ones from several filters. These are the black polymer photo filters. They're not bad. I would gladly take an ND 100,000 over these, but these are good for the budget. These I got from Spectrum Filters. They're fairly affordable. It's just black polymer, but I like the color rendition of the sun with the ND 100,000 from NISI. It's more balanced and it looks more even. That actually is a good point that Marcus made in the chat. the air between each filter will heat up. I don't know that it would crack a filter, but that is something that you have to take into account, is that the heat between each filter is going to build up, and you basically have little micro atmospheres in between each one. And as that heats up, it's going to dilute the image. So one filter, the Nisi ones for the photographer in your life or for you, the 100,000 is what you need, or just go get a glass one. I don't know that I would stack them because really, honestly, you're probably going to degrade it. For mounts, you have our EQ6R. This has been our tried and true mount. These things hold 44 pounds of gear. They're belt drive. They're easy to auto guide because it's very repeatable periodic error. It's not drawn out. You don't have to worry about it falling over because it's out of balance. And they are rigid. This has been the tried and true mount for probably the last 5 to 6 years, probably longer than that, has been the EQ6R. They are hefty mounts. They will hold up to a 6-inch refractor. And if you want a mount that is basically bulletproof and has proven itself time and time again, the EQ6R is available. They do mesh well with a lot of the mini computers. They're just a good mount and they're reliable. If you want something bigger, we do have our new CQ350s in stock. 70 something pounds, I think it's 77. These have all the built-in USB features. These are going to hold your larger tubes. And they can go to low latitudes as well. And if the CQ350 isn't enough, we do have the EQ8R and the RH for that observatory class stuff, which are also very good. All of those can work on your ASI Airs. They can work with the Eagle. The Primalucha Eagle 5s are fast and they're fantastic. And the nice thing about the Eagles is you're not stuck in some ecosystem from one particular brand. You can use whatever you want. So the Eagles from Primalucha are excellent. Now, lastly, for the holidays, it is eclipse season. Getting yourself a solar telescope is awesome. It's probably way too late for you to get your solar telescope by the October 14th annular. But a Lunt solar telescope is fantastic. This year, I got my double stack 40 Lunt, which is what's pictured here on a Venture GTI. I have used every solar telescope you can think of. I have used all the Coronados, the PST, the SolarMax 40, 60, 70s, all of them. Gen 2, Gen 3s. I don't know how many times I played with PSTs. My Coronado 90 double stack is a Tucson era version that is world class. This Lunt 40 double stack blows so much out of the water. It's mind-boggling how good these little telescopes are. And I've heard from other owners they are actually the same. So it's not just like my sample. The double 40 Lunt telescope is the best beginner solar telescope on the market. And if you can get it double stacked from the factory, do it. I don't think you really need to add the Feather Touch focuser or anything like that. I have the helical one with a BF6 or a B600. The thing is so awesome. It holds up against my old school Coronado 90, which is a world-class telescope. These Lunt 40 doubles for $1,500 is unbelievable how good they are. Let's see. Can you get away with just a Herschel wedge and an HA? No. A night hydrogen alpha filter behind a white light filter will do nothing besides turn the sun red. You need a narrow band, and you need a narrow band system. Now they have bigger ones. They have the 50s, they have the 60s, they have the 80, 100, 130. They still have the 152. The 40s, they're amazing. I don't know what they do to them. I have no idea. But the double stack 40, which is a $1,500 setup, I think with a case, is awesome. Yes, the Lunt scopes have the filters built in. And they're all put together. They do have the modular ones, which you can use, but that starts at the 60 and goes up, so you can get a little ED refractor, but they are modular. If you have a refractor already, what's the cheapest way for HA solar? That's a good question, Marcus, because that would be the Daystar Cork. The Daystar Cork filters are a add-on that you put on the back of your refractor. And they have the telecentric Barlow, which is required for a Daystar system, built in. You literally pop this in and then put your favorite eyepiece. I would highly recommend the TeleVue 32 or 40 Plossels. The TeleVue Plossels have the best baffling that you can get, and they really reduce the glare really well. But if you have a small refractor, like our EvoStar and our Evolux or the Esprits or something similar. Now, I will let you know, the Cork is designed to use in the back of the telescope with a UV IR filter on the diagonal. That is how it is designed to take the heat coming in to the focus point. If you have one of these quad refractors that are on the market, like the PHQs or Red Cat, I would not use a Cork, because as the light focuses down further, it's starting to get closer and closer to the focus point, and the closer you get to the focus point, the more heat builds up. I would not trust a quad or Petzval telescope with something like this. You want a standard refractor, and it can even be an achromat refractor, because you're using one wavelength of light in the red. It's irrelevant. But a Daystar Cork is the best way to adapt a current refractor to H-alpha solar. I think you can get these right now as well. Now, the trick with the Daystar systems, and I have to hurry this up because we're blowing through it. Actually, we're about done. The trick with the Daystars is they use a solid state etalon, or solid etalon, not solid state. Lunt and Coronado use air-spaced etalons where they can use a tilt system to tune it, or air pressure. A Daystar is solid, so it has to heat up. The USB that you see there heats the internal heater to tune the etalon to get on the hydrogen band. If you have want more information, you should call Daystar, talk to Tiffany. Let's see. So a triplet refractor, get a diagonal wedge and a Cork. No, the Cork is a standalone filter on its own. A Herschel wedge is just a white light filter on its own. Get a Cork. If you have a nice refractor, probably under 100 millimeter, get yourself a Cork. It's a standalone filter. Make sure you really understand what you're getting yourself into with solar filters before you buy it. Talk to the manufacturers, ask them questions, and make sure you understand what you're doing before you do it. Now, last thing before we finish this up, solar H-alpha is a very niche market with very specialized equipment. Your minimum buy-in for one of these filters, whether it's like a PST or a Lunt 40 or a Cork, is $800 to $1,000. I know it's a lot of money, but you're talking about very high-end, very specialized equipment. All of this can be used for imaging. They all have their own little nuances when it comes to imaging. The PST being the shortest one and the most difficult one to image with, where the Lunt 40 and the Cork are probably easier to do imaging with, but you might need some accessories. If you're using a cork for imaging, the Apollo M Max would be the filter of choice. Let's see, wedge equals visual diagonal, or just plug the cork into the refractor. Either, yeah, a Herschel wedge, if you want to shoot or do visual with white light, a Herschel wedge is my favorite. It's the cleanest white light filter for refractors 6-inch or smaller. If you want to do hydrogen alpha, you can either go get yourself a dedicated system like a Lunt or a Coronado, or if you have a refractor, you can get yourself a cork. But I would highly recommend, if you have questions, just call the manufacturers, give Lunt a call, talk to Faye, or call Daystar and talk to Tiffany. They're both fantastic. They're just different. All right, guys, we blew through an hour for this. We could go way down the rabbit hole with solar filters. And in fact, next month, we're going to have Simon back on October 13th, the day before the eclipse. And we're going to talk about all things solar. So if you have questions for solar and the eclipses, join us on October 13th for Simon. He's back. We're going to be talking about all kinds of solar stuff there. That's pretty much it for gift ideas. Hopefully that's helpful. Next week, we are going to be here with our special guests. We're going to have Ashley and Trevor from Astro Backyard, and we're going to be talking about Ontario Starfest. I had some family stuff. I wasn't able to come to Starfest this year, so we're going to bring them on because they've been 2 years in a row, and we're going to talk about Starfest and how that went and what's cool about it, and we're going to be hanging out with Trevor and Ashley, which is always a good group, and we'll have them both on live next Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you like what you see here, please go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. Please help us break that ceiling. Please subscribe, leave a like on a video. We definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Go out, enjoy it, clear skies, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.